Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. You know what day it is. Yes, it's that day. The three amigos are back at it. How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing super awesome. Not sporting any plaid, so there's no chance of a picnic breaking out.
And I heard earlier this morning you hit the lottery. You want to tell us what that means?
I did. It was very exciting. I not only got the new revised version of what Rice Krispies looks like, which is this almost handheld box, right?
Yeah.
And I do have decent sized hands and forearms, but they're not that big. So this is now the new box. And then this is now called the family box, which was the original box, right?
Yeah.
So they're already inflating my Krispies. And now this is the mega box. So
shrinkflation in full effect.
yeah, it's been 3 months since I've been able to enjoy a box of Rice Krispies. And we got groceries last night at 9 p.m. So these stayed closed for breakfast. Just to make sure that people could see that there were those 3 boxes. Because when I dig into those, I'm not sure how long they're going to last. I got to be honest.
Yeah, I think that one is a single serving.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, this is going to go in my special soup bowl.
You got one of those too?
I do.
I only had one, honey.
Yeah. My soup bowl of Rice Krispies. There
I have a coffee cup like that. It's like this big. I was like, I only had one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the bottle of wine cup.
Yeah,
I've seen
exactly.
those too.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's big.
Just one. Sorry, I digress. Dion, how are you?
Howdy, I'm doing great. I'm ready for round one. I had fun this morning being attacked in the Facebook groups. It was amazing. And
Oh no.
if I didn't just finish them off as soon as I got them, I'd bring in the vodka bottles and try to compare what the sizes have done too. So,
Dion, I got a vodka bottle I'm going to show you. You will not believe its size. It's
well,
epic.
my friends kind of get mad because I get the Skull vodka
Yeah.
and then I pour it out and give it away and put in the cheap vodka that I like. I just like the bottle.
Well, I've got to ask, since the lumberjack shared his favorite breakfast, do you have a preferred breakfast cereal?
I don't know that I've ever eaten breakfast in probably 20 years.
That doesn't
I'm
matter.
a
You can still have a
Lunch
favorite.
guy. Oh,
What's your favorite cereal? Come on.
oh, do we have a favorite cereal? When I was a kid, we never had cereal. So when I would go to a friend's house, the idea that they could get a bowl of sugar was amazing. We were so poor. All we had was steak because we would raise our own animals. Like at our house, we ate bacon and ham and steak. And I'd go to my friend's house, like, you get sugar?
I want some of that.
What is this? So anything with a lot of sugar in it.
Yeah, graham crackers, I think, was my favorite. Captain Crunch. Oh man, talk about sugar right there, baby. Woo!
Yeah, my wife loves those and Fruity Pebbles.
Fruity Pebbles. Yeah, the colored milk.
She was one of 6 and I'm one of 6 as well. So yeah.
Anyways, I digress. Sorry for having cereal conversations, but I just wanted to know. So I asked. What we would do here in number 2 is we're going to deal with a Facebook question that we got in my group. One rental at a time works. And that is, I've been talking a lot about a recession. I think there are more and more signs that one is coming. My fear is it's going to be on the nastier and longer side, which is not a combination you would want. But a lot of people are asking, okay, guys, what do you do? So we'll go to you first, Dion. What are some of the things that you do? Again, crystal ball, it's as broken as mine. If a recession is in our future, what are some things that Dion does to get ready for it?
So the first thing is I feel bad for the people it impacts more. I do. I understand. And the less money and resources you have, the more impactful a recession is going to be. So that sucks. Mm-hmm. And I had a live stream this week. Right at the end, I went to a in-person meetup. We have a local REI group here at Tacoma Phi, if you're on Facebook, and we meet once a month. The question came up from a new investor who purchased her first rental. So congratulations. That's awesome. But she literally looked at me and a couple of other investors who are older and have more portfolio size. So she was like literally looking up to our opinion. And she said, did I do the wrong thing? I'm really nervous. There's a recession coming. Should I have not bought now? So I said, let's game theory it. If there's no recession coming and interest rates go up and prices go up, buying now is the best thing because it's just going to cost you more later. If interest rates go up and magically somehow prices come down, it's going to cost you the same because the rates went up. If there's a recession and prices go down, which means interest rates might come back down, you refinance. In every situation that came up, the advice is the same. It's always a good day to buy a great deal. Purchase rentals that have that cash flow gap where you can have less rents and still be cash flow positive. So in the event that we ever have to lower rents, it's not how, it's not that you'll have somebody just not paying. It's how low do you have to make the rents to match what's happening with the recession. So I'm going to continue exactly like I was a couple of years ago when everybody was saying prices will never go down, we'll never have a problem. No one even thought of a pandemic. Hunt for the great deals, keep adding one rental at a time, keep good reserves. And if you're a brand new investor, maybe be a little more conservative. More of a down payment, less towards that 100% financed option.
Yeah, don't get tricked into an adjustable rate mortgage would be my thought.
Right, and watch out for that because they're still pushing them.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
All right. And Matt, what are you thinking?
Buy crypto and stock up on Rice Krispies mostly.
Stop it. One of those he's serious about, the other one he's not serious about. I'll
That's
let you
true.
guess.
You guess which one I have boxes of them in my background.
Exactly.
So I think my three things that I did that I thought, kind of insulated me as much as possible was I reasonably cashed out of any of my properties that had a lot of equity in them. So I stacked cash, but I made sure to not make any of them losers.
Right.
So they're 70%, my highest are 70% loan to value. My lowest are, I have a couple that are outliers, but generally speaking, my lowest are 50%. So creating a bunch of cash. Number two is guaranteeing more of my rents. So going into the COVID programs and going into Section 8 housing and voucher program housing to guarantee more of that. And then the last thing that I did was to Dion's point, which was something that we talk about often, which is, let's say half people stop paying. We'll still be able to work with given tenants, rework the numbers. And it's not a position that we want to be in, but that's if this becomes a really deep and nasty recession.
Right.
If it becomes that really deep and nasty recession, ideally, like Mike, you gave away a bunch of rent for COVID.
I did.
We didn't want to do it, but we had to do it. We did that because we had to try and help people out.
Yeah.
Now there's a certain point where it makes no sense. And we know that there's renters out there that can pay a fraction of that and that they'll actually pay.
Yeah.
So we know that can cycle through. So really the big three were, create as much cash as possible, get as much rent that was guaranteed as possible.
I like that.
And then lastly, make sure you have some flexibility that if the recession does get deep and nasty and you have some renewals that are going to come up in that time, you can be flexible on the price at that time. The binder strategy can still work in that way, right? Because if everything's down around them, or likely, Dion hasn't raised the rent already. And so things are down. And so it's just a matter of saying, hey, I can keep you where you're at.
Yeah.
And or marginally increase it just to cover the marginal increase in cost.
I think all of that is A1 advice. I'll just add around them. Those are so good. First thing I would tell someone, if you're nervous about a recession, I would look at the job you have today. How secure is that? Now, you'll never know for certain, but having been a hiring manager, having been that person who had to look at an Excel spreadsheet and say, these are the 12 names that need to go. There are some things you could do in your employment to increase your chances. I would tell you to, if you're in software, work on install-based products versus the next new thing.
Yeah.
Right. The next new thing could get whacked in a bad recession pretty quickly. Right. So there are things that you could do to insulate your day job. That would be kind of step number one if you're nervous. Step number two, you guys kind of both hit it. Be more conservative. That may mean more down, as Dion said. It certainly means 30-year debt, as all three of us always say. Raise cash where you can. Rates are still historically low. Sorry you missed the bottom. If you were listening to Matt and I 2 or 3 months ago, we told you to do it. If you did, great. If you didn't, I'm sorry. Rates are still pretty okay. They're not horrible. But the reason that is important is you want to raise debt. You want to raise capital when the banks want to lend. When this gets bad, they will create every excuse in the book not to lend. That's why I'm willing to sit on cash for upwards of 2 years and let inflation eat at it while I pay mortgage payments. It's just because I'm willing to wait. And then lastly, Dion said it best. It is always a great day to do a great deal. Here's the deal about the recession I see coming, even if it's deep and dark. We're going to go from a 3.8% unemployment rate to 7, 8, 9%. Think about that differently. We go from a 96% employed rate to a 92, 93, 91% employed rate. Now, if you're in the 9%, it hurts, right? The definition, a joke I've used is the difference between a depression and a recession. Depression is when you're unemployed. A recession is when your neighbor is unemployed. And then the last thing about a recession I want everybody to hear is this. We've all been looking for the motivated seller. Recessions make them, relatively speaking, easy to find. You may need to be creative. You may need to look in different places, but they will be there in spades. Real money, real wealth, real deals are created in recessions. It's just the way it is. The average American spends too much, doesn't have reserves. It's why Matt's going to buy his orange Lambo in a recession. He won't buy it at the peak of a market. It will be in a recession. It's just how it works. It's just always how it works. So Dion, any closing thoughts and how can people find you?
Well, one of the reasons I think people should take in content like this and actually take action is because the biggest fear I would have with everyone saying a recession is coming is having to rely on a job.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I know, Mike, you're not in this situation, but if Matt or me, if our boss called and said, hey, something's changed, we don't need you tomorrow, we'd be like, 500-day weekend.
Yeah.
I'm out of here.
Every day is Saturday. Is that what
Every
we're
day
saying?
is Saturday.
Come on.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, it's awesome. How about you, Matt?
Don't give my boss any ideas. Yeah. I mean, like, I'm not quite sure how I should feel about this. I guess 45, 614. I mean,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
suppose, so yeah. But yeah, I think that's what everybody has to watch out for. I think Dion hits the nail on the head. I think that, that was one of the things that, thankfully I was always a top performer in my software jobs, but I was at a software company in 99. And by 2001, we'd had 7 RIFs, reduction in force, 7. And at the point, my team went from 46 to 17 in that reduction in forces, those 7 rounds. Every time we lost 3, 4, 5, every single time. Yeah. And so the nice thing was the top performers, we were all still there. And that was great. But there were a couple of pretty decent performers that just had a really bad year, and there was no argument to be made for them, and they were gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just one of those things. And I felt bad for those families. I mean, those were 6-figure jobs.
Yeah.
That was tough, I'm sure, for them to absorb.
Yeah. So again, if you're under 60, I don't know, good or bad news. It depends how you look at it. You're probably going to have 3 or 4 recessions coming in your life. They are part of the business cycle. Mm-hmm. And again, why is it good? Because that's where opportunities are. They can hurt if you get, if you're one of the 7 RIFs, it'll hurt. And yeah, I've seen the same thing, but just know they're coming. That's why I talk about a real estate cycle. That's why I talk about a lending cycle. All of these things tie together. You have to watch. And that's why I talk about them every day in the daily financial news. So Dion, how can people find you?
Right here on YouTube, Dion Talk Financial Freedom. Live streams are Tuesday afternoons, 4 p.m.
Awesome. And Matt, how about you?
Lumberjack Landlord on YouTube and Lumberjack Landlord on Instagram, and live stream Sunday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time.
Very cool. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Mike.